My birth control was tampered with by my boyfriend. I'm pregnant. I don't know what to do. My boyfriend, 22 male, and I, 22 female, have been together for 3 years. We were high school friends, grew apart, ended up going to the same college, similar majors, reconnected, you can guess the rest. We've been on the rocks lately. Our lifestyles just don't align very well, and sometimes he treats me more like a mother than a partner. I am losing patience. He is an only child, and kind of a massive mama's boy. His mom is nice enough, just very traditional. Until recently, I don't feel like I've had a reason to distrust her. He confides in her a lot about our relationship, sometimes an uncomfortable amount. For the past couple of months, I feel like she's been trying to plant seeds in my head about having kids when I'm alone with her. Some examples. The joy of motherhood is like nothing else. You'll understand someday. I know it's hard right now. You know, a baby might bring you closer. My husband and I fought constantly until we finally had BF's name. Once you have a baby, everything else falls away. They're little miracle workers. You know, fatherhood changes people. I think I just needs to experience it. That last one in regards to his irresponsibility and lack of accountability for housework, I'm on the pill. I've been trying to get on a different form of birth control that doesn't require constant effort, like an IUD, injections, arm implant, but I haven't been able to decide which one is right for me. My birth control comes in a blister pack, but I usually pop a week's worth into a pill organizer so I can just take it with my other medications. I don't bother taking the sugar pills you're supposed to take during the week of your period. I keep the empty blister packs with the leftover sugar pills in my nightstand because I'm weird about throwing things away sometimes. What if I need it later mentality I picked up from growing up in a doomsday prepping household. I feel incredibly stupid for that now. A couple of weeks ago, I missed my period. Took a pregnancy test, saw the dreaded second line, and proceeded to freak out. My boyfriend was at work when I found out, so I called him immediately. I told him we needed to talk and that it was urgent. He didn't want to come home at first since we are not in a great situation financially. I started bawling and begging. I think he realized I was serious. When he got home, I was sitting on the bathroom floor. I was a wreck, cried so hard I vomited. Anyways, boyfriend gets back to our apartment, finds me on the floor, and as soon as he sees the pregnancy test, he smiles. His face lit up and I saw red. No acknowledgement of the state I was in. The first thing he said to me besides, "What's going on?" it was, "Oh my God, baby, this is great." I wanted to put my head through the wall. I tried to explain to him through snot and tears and spit that no, this was not great. We're both full-time students with jobs. I can't take time off. I have a ton of unresolved health issues. We can barely afford the roof over our heads. I hate the idea of getting an abortion. I am all for it when it's someone else. Just for me, I don't know if I can bring myself to do it. He left me to cool down in the bathroom for a while. I told him to get out, and I saw one of my blister packs in the bathroom trash can. We don't use it very often, so we only empty it once in a while. I threw away the pregnancy test, it knocked aside a wad of toilet paper, and the silver foil caught my eye. I dug through the trash, and I found 7 of my regular birth control pills at the bottom of the trash bag. I can't believe he not only did this to me, but also was so incredibly careless. It's like he barely tried to hide it. I can't tell if he wanted me to find out, or if he just genuinely doesn't have anything knocking around inside his cranium besides a few rocks. I had been racking my brain trying to figure out how this could have happened. I am so diligent about taking my meds. I feel so stupid. The sugar pills are literally a different color. I take like 7 pills in the morning and unceremoniously dump them into my mouth. I definitely didn't look closely at them. He didn't give me a reason to think I had to. He hadn't said anything about kids. I could tell he was kind of trying to be better about his responsibilities lately. I thought things were finally starting to look up when it came to the state of our relationship. We have access to each other's phones. I think he probably checked my Fitbit app to find out when I was ovulating since I track my period there. I don't know how else he could have known. I think I remember a few times I'd unlock my phone and find the app open, but I thought nothing of it. I confided in a few close friends about all of this, told them everything. What he did, how I think he did it, how I think his mom might have told him to, how devastated I am, and how stupid I feel. In essence, they told me I need to grow a spine, leave him, stop going crazy, and figure my shit out, decide what to do. Now a part of me feels like I might be overreacting. I'm staying with my parents right now. They don't know what's going on. They're kind of religious, and I'm not exactly sure how they feel about abortion. I don't want to bring it up because I don't know how they'll react. My boyfriend has been texting me nonstop, telling me to calm down and come home and talk to him. I'm so lost. Sorry if this is a mess. I'm not proofreading. I don't have the bandwidth right now. Edit. I'm terminating. I'm chronically ill. I'd have an extremely risky pregnancy, and I don't want to bring a kid into this environment. I've made an appointment, but I'm still so scared. I also had my friend gently prod my ex over text about what happened, and he didn't even have to do much. He bent immediately, saying he needed to get it off his chest and that he feels like a terrible person. He is. I am leaving that goddamn scumbag scourge on my life far behind me. He just doesn't know it yet. My boyfriend swapped my normal birth control with sugar pills. I have some physical evidence of the tampering, the pills he threw away, and screenshots of him admitting that he did it, an explanation of how he did it via texts he sent to my friends. Does this warrant going to police? I don't even know where to start or what I would say. Update, 1 month later. My ex's family is a mess. Getting in touch with legal professionals and talking to police has been so overwhelming, but I am lucky enough to be working with some absolute angels. I can't get into the weeds of all that in this post. It doesn't really look great, but it's hard to say what'll happen since everything is so fresh. Courts move at a snail's pace, but if I'm ever in a position to give an update, I will. Now for everything else, I guess. Ex confessed to messing with my birth control. I have a close childhood friend who my ex took to early in our relationship. Looking back, ex definitely had a little bit of a thing for her. I think everyone who knows her kinda does, myself included. She is compassionate, amenable, gorgeous, the whole package. Anyone who knows her well knows she is not to be played with. Point is, he trusted her a lot. A few hours after I made my post, she and I got together and schemed. We very gently prodded him over text. He barely bent before he broke. We deliberately made the text messages sound super non-judgmental, like she was on his side. She threw me under the bus a little bit and implied she felt closer to him than to me to really sell the act. I can't go into detail about how the conversation went down, legally, but I do have the screenshots and I will definitely be posting them if I can once all of this is over and done. I don't think X would have ever spilled his guts if she hadn't been in the picture. Friend has been by my side pretty much ever since. I mentioned at the end of my original post that I've been staying with my parents, and they have been gracious enough to help me until I'm back on my feet no matter how long it takes. I quit my dead-end job I've been meaning to anyway, and I've been doing school online. Friend brought her mini work from home setup, and we've both just been sharing a bed in my childhood room most nights. I think some part of me has known for a while that my last relationship was comfet. Leaving felt like such a monumental task. In some messed up way, this has been a blessing. I was thrust into a situation where the only reasonable option was to drop him like hot shit, which was kinda long overdue. Parents are also way chiller than I thought they'd be. I mentioned in my last post that they're kinda religious, but they chilled out a lot after I moved out. Faith is still a big part of their lives, but they're less into following the book to a T, and more into making the world a better place. My dad got really into virtue ethics, and I think it's been good for him. I had a conversation with my mom about everything, and she has been nothing but supportive. We had a girls' day with her, my aunt, my friend, and my sister a couple of days before my appointment. Being surrounded by love made everything easier. Appointment went well, no complications, and everyone made sure I was taken care of while I recovered physically and emotionally. I can't even begin to tell you all how grateful I am. I feel like everything has gone as well as it possibly could have in the wake of an absolute shitstorm. As for X's family, this isn't the first time this happened. X's cousin did almost the exact same thing, but his girlfriend, now wife, kept the kid and married the shitbag. I've been talking to her, but I don't want to air out all of her trauma and dirty laundry on the internet. Lots going on for her. If she gives me permission to talk about it here, I might update once the dust settles. My 24 female boyfriend, 29 male of 1.5 years, is stealing my opinions and skills to look cool. I don't think I would have really noticed it if we weren't both working from home and living together, but my boyfriend constantly copies things that I say and do and repeats them to friends and coworkers as if they're his own original ideas. And it's not just that he repeats them, but 99% of the time he does it with things that when I say them, he argues with me about. Example 1. We watched a TV show on Netflix a couple months ago. I brought up that while I liked it, had some pretty problematic stuff regarding the way it treated women and LGBTQ+ women in particular. He really argued with me and wrote off the things I brought up, making excuses regarding how Hollywood is and saying I was being too sensitive, overly critical. The next day I heard him in our living room talking to his friends on Skype about it. He brought up my exact points using my exact wording as if it was his own idea. I enjoyed it, but I try to be sensitive about this issue, and this was something I noticed, that type of thing. They praised him for his progressive thinking, and it rubbed me the wrong way, but I tried to forget about it. This sort of thing has happened over and over, like multiple times a week. Sometimes it's movies, sometimes it's a book I'm reading, sometimes it's life advice regarding work. I started noticing it, and now I don't think we've had a similar argument without him later repeating what I say to other people like it's his idea. Sometimes it has to do with things I know a lot about. For instance, very specific skills that I have, but he doesn't. He will talk to people as if he has those skills and has done those things when he's talking about things he's seen me do. Example 2. The last straw came when I made him a special dish that I love, and the recipe is one I developed over years. It's very time-consuming, but he loved it. He asked me to make more, and I did because I was pleased he liked it. I spent a whole afternoon doing it, and I made extra so that he could take some with him to a work meeting to share. He told me he would brag about what a talented girlfriend he had, and it made me feel really happy. The day after, I heard him in a Zoom meeting with his coworkers, and they were all talking about how good this dish was. And they kept talking about how surprised they were he was such a good cook, and how he'll have to cook more for them. He was acting very humble, saying thank you, and even mentioning ways he had perfected the recipe. And the only mention of other help was he offhandedly said that a friend had helped him with some of the prep work. Later, I told him that I overheard him and what he had said. At first, he got really defensive. He told me that he was caught off guard and that afterwards he came clean to them, although I didn't hear that part. I told him it made me feel bad, like I was unappreciated, and it took away things that I love and am proud of about myself. Then he got upset and said that he just hates feeling like a failure or like he can't do something, and he felt like a terrible person for hurting me. He apologized, but I felt like the conversation had kind of turned into one about him and his vulnerabilities, and no longer about how it has hurt me. Now, I've heard him do similar things multiple times again. I feel like it's ridiculous to bring it up again because it will start a fight that won't mean anything, but it's making me crazy. Am I being too sensitive? Should I just let it go, or is it worth bringing it up again? And if so, how? Update 5 weeks later. I realized that the problem was much bigger than the issue I had originally posted about. I had been writing off some things in my relationship that had already given me some concerns, but I blamed on my anxiety or insecurity. Things really began to click when I took people's advice to look up gaslighting and narcissistic personality. So I began to take note of those small things and also do a little digging. Mostly I began to realize I was being gaslit, a term I didn't understand before posting here, and lied to. Biggest concern of all, I found out that he manipulated me and created a fake crisis that made me think my old living situation was in jeopardy, which was the reason I moved in with him. I can't go into more details, but I had been unsure about moving in with him, and that crisis had pushed me over the edge, and I now realize it was how he controlled me and isolated me from my friends. Suffice it to say, at that moment I was ready to leave, but now that I knew how far he would go, I was scared to break up with him until I had an escape plan. So I decided to write down everything that happened, so I couldn't be gaslit anymore. And as soon as I made that decision, it's like things just fell into my lap. I found out that he was constantly looking up exes and girls he had met on dating apps in the past, many of whom were friends with me, on social media. He let me use his laptop, and I saw his Facebook search history. Some light digging revealed that he was receiving flirtatious messages from girls, and while nothing overt happened, he definitely avoided mentioning he was in a relationship to them. I caught him texting the girl who he talked to before me. It ended badly, and trying to reconnect even though she didn't want to. She told him to F off and ended up blocking him and even deleting most of her social media. I never found out why they didn't work out. Completely by accident, I was messaged by one of his female friends, whom I had met a couple times. Turns out they had met on a dating app and had gone on 3 dates while he and I were together early in our relationship. We compared texts and found evidence of him lying to both of us and gaslighting me. There's even a chain where I mention he is being cold to me and asking if something is wrong, and he convinces me that it was my anxiety making me read too much into things again, all while texting me from his date with her. Even more small stuff I won't go into. Yesterday, I found a temporary place to live. Today, I broke up with him after laying all of the shitty things he did out in front of him. He lied multiple times. Even during the conversation, he didn't know I had receipts and proof, and boy did his tune change when I pulled that out. He tried to convince me that all of it meant nothing, and make me feel sorry for him by talking about his childhood and how he has insecurity issues. I told him that we all have issues, and while that explains his behavior, it doesn't excuse it. And he can't use trauma as an excuse to traumatize others. I told him he can stay in our apartment, but he can't talk to me. I don't want to interact with him, and after we move, I want him out of my life completely. I found a place to live, although it's smaller and farther from work, but I'll do whatever it takes to get out. I can move in the 1st of November. This has low-key messed me up a bit. I never had trust issues before, and I feel like I am completely doubting my own judgment. I was so sure of myself before. But I know once I'm out that things will be better, and I feel like there's a weight off my shoulders. Although I admit I feel like a total idiot for not figuring things out sooner. I want to say thank you to everyone who commented and gave advice. You all helped open my eyes. This has been really crappy, but I know I've learned a lot and won't make those same mistakes again. I finally broke up with my BF today after a month of making an escape plan and finding out some pretty bad stuff about him, including lying, creating a fake crisis that forced me into his arms, and, sort of, cheating on me. I'm moving out at the end of this month. Like and subscribe for daily Reddit stories. All rights belong to the original author. This video is for narration entertainment purposes only.